The decision to be lonely. Jason Marks, a 31-year-old former combat photographer who had seen many horrific scenes during his service in Afghanistan, was now fighting a new battle. The loneliness and depression that followed the death of his wife, Sarah. Far from the hustle and bustle of the city, he bought an old farmhouse in the remote mountains of Montana. The farmhouse had been built in the 1940s, and since then, it had changed owners several times, for some mysterious reason. The silence of the farmhouse. The house was made entirely of wood. The floors made sounds when you walked on them. The paint on the walls was peeling in places, and the stairs seemed to be breathing. The snow was falling in the distance from the bedroom window, and there were only two sounds: Jason's breathing and his dog Max, who was always alert. But one thing was strange. The basement door was closed and nailed shut. This was all the previous owner had said as he left. Never open this door, especially after midnight. The first night, a whisper. Jason lay in bed that first night, feeling the sound of the snow, the soft tinkling of the wind chime, and Max's soft groans. But then, as the clock struck 12:03 a.m., a voice came, very low, as if someone had whispered, "Jason, come downstairs." He opened his eyes, turned on the light. Nothing. Max continued to stand on the edge of the bed, staring down. But Jason ignored it, dismissing it as a nightmare. The second night, a clear message. The next night at midnight, the voice came again, but now it felt clearer, colder, and closer. "Jason, you left me. Come, now." This time the voice was coming from the basement door. Max stood in front of the door, ears back, and stared at it. Jason took the light and examined the door, but it was locked, the nails still in place. But as he turned back, the voice came again. "Unlock it, Jason." Whispers on the walls. The next day, Jason noticed strange markings on the walls near the basement door, as if something had been written with nails and then erased. He tried to decipher a few words. "She waits." 12:03. Trap door. His hands began to shake. He immediately took Max and started to go outside. But the car engine wouldn't start, and the phone service was completely gone. The door that opened by itself. The third night, the day of the blizzard, the voice became more shrill than ever. "Come to me. I'm waiting. You promised." The basement door opened automatically this time. The nails were outside. Jason took courage, grabbed the flashlight, and started going down, taking Max with him. The cold was increasing with each step, as if the temperature was going from 20 degrees to minus, hell below. The stairs creaked in the basement. When he reached the bottom, he found a large room, hidden in the darkness, filled with old things. There were pictures of a woman screaming on the walls, old mirrors, dusty boxes, and a trapdoor locked in a corner. As he approached the trapdoor, he smelled cold breath. And then the same voice. "I waited so long, Jason." The secret of the coffin. As soon as Jason opened the trapdoor, a narrow passage led down, and there, a coffin lay. The coffin was inscribed, "Sarah Marks, 1989-2018. Jason's body was white. His wife was buried in the grave. So what's here? Just then, the wood of the coffin creaked on its own. The lid shook and slowly opened. The meeting, which was the last. A cold, decayed, corpse-like woman lay there, but her eyes were open, and she was smiling. "You let me die alone, Jason. Now, stay with me, forever." The trapdoor closed behind Jason. Max's voice faded away. The silence of the morning and the missing man. The next morning, a local farmer saw the house. The doors closed, only Max's footprints in the snow, which had gone towards the forest. There was no sign of Jason, neither inside nor outside. The house is still there today, closed, with occasional light shining through the old windows. And whoever passes by at 12:03 a.m. hears a voice. "Jason, come downstairs." The origins of a mysterious place. St. Augustine Psychiatric Hospital is an old hospital in upstate New York. From a distance, it looks like an ordinary, quiet building. But as soon as you step through its main door, a strange weight is felt. The hospital was founded in 1932, when treatment for mental illness was often synonymous with cruelty. Cure techniques like electroshock, icebox therapy, and confinement were common. Over time, the hospital modernized, but one of its wards, Ward C13, was closed in 1985. Since then, the place has become nothing more than a rumor, a legend, and the nightmare of many workers. Emily Carter's arrival. In 2011, a 24-year-old nursing student named Emily Carter began her internship here. She was happy, enthusiastic, and uninterested in hearing that some people called the hospital haunted. Her supervisor was Nurse Karen Miles, a very serious and mysterious woman. Emily noted that she never spoke about Ward C13. That night, when everything changed, it was a cold December night. Snow was falling in the hospital, and it was so cold that the windows were fogged up. That night was Emily's first night shift. At around 2 a.m., Karen called Emily. "Emily, we need an old patient record from the basement archives. The patient's name is Lillian Graves. You'll find her file in the storage near Ward C13. Emily was a little surprised, as it was generally forbidden to send junior staff to the basement, but she went there without saying anything. The terrifying journey to the basement. As she walked down to the basement, the corridors were pitch dark. The lighting was dim, and the walls smelled of damp. In some places, the sound of water dripping from the leaking roof could be heard. The door to Ward C13 appeared, rusty, old, and closed. But surprisingly, today the door was slightly ajar. Emily's heart beat faster, but she kept telling herself, "It's just an old room. I just came to get a file." Silence inside, and something else. She slowly entered. Dust had settled on everything. Old wheelchairs, rusty beds, and a broken fan hung from the ceiling. As she approached the file cabinet, she heard the faint sound of footsteps. She looked back. No one. At that moment, someone gently placed a hand on her shoulder. She backed away, startled, but there was only darkness behind her. An unknown file. She quickly began searching for Lillian Graves's file. She found that file, but another file fell down with it. The name on it was Karen Miles. Emily opened the file in surprise, and the image that appeared shook her to the core. The photo showed a patient whose face exactly resembled Nurse Karen. The door closed, and the voices began. As soon as she began to read the file, the door slammed shut. The flashlight began to flicker, and then that voice. "Don't leave me here. I'm still here. You look like her." These whispers echoed off the walls of the room and echoed in Emily's ears. Shadow, fan, and the truth, written in blood. The ceiling fan suddenly started to turn on by itself, even though there was no power source. A shadow began to crawl on the wall, slowly approaching. Emily saw the words written in blood on the wall. She never left. I was Karen, before I died. The truth of the file. Emily opened Karen's file again. Inside it read, "Patient exhibited severe delusions, claimed to be a nurse, last seen in Ward C13, declared dead, suicide by hanging, 1985. Now everything began to become clear. The real Karen was the patient who thought she was a nurse, or maybe something else. Last-ditch rescue. Emily plucked up the courage and opened the door. It swung open, as if someone had opened it themselves. She ran upstairs, took the file, and told the senior staff everything. But Nurse Karen was no longer there. No one had even seen her. Her name was not in the hospital records. The end or the beginning? Emily left the hospital, but she still had Karen Miles's file. Sometimes at night, that file opens automatically, and on the last page, a scratch appears, getting deeper every day. I never left.